Sarah clung to the splintering doorframe as the wind howled like a wounded beast. Her small farmhouse trembled beneath the wrath of the tornado tearing across the plains. She had one hand gripping the cradle where her baby lay crying, the other shielding the lantern that flickered desperately. Through the shattered window, she spotted a rider battling the storm, his horse nearly blown sideways, his hat gone, his coat flapping wildly. He wasn't from this town, she would have recognized him. Lightning struck nearby, illuminating his face, strong, determined, eyes sharp as steel though half covered in blood. Without thinking, Sarah rushed toward the door. The wind ripped it open, nearly pulling her into darkness, but she fought forward. The stranger fell from his horse just yards from her porch. Sarah grabbed his arm with surprising strength, dragging him across the floor as debris battered the house. The tornado roared directly overhead. Her baby screamed. The stranger, barely conscious, locked eyes with her. "The cellar," he rasped. She hesitated for only a breath before nodding. With every ounce of strength she had left, she lifted the baby, pulled the man toward the trapdoor beneath the rug, and pushed them both inside just as the roof gave way above them. In the darkness, with the world collapsing overhead, the stranger whispered, almost to himself. "She saved me, a woman with nothing." Sarah didn't know yet. She had just saved the most powerful man in the county. The storm outside raged like the end of days, rattling the wooden trapdoor, but inside the cellar there was only the sound of the baby's soft whimpers and the stranger's heavy breathing. Sarah clutched her child close, her heart still pounding from the terror above. The man lay on the dirt floor, half conscious, rainwater dripping from his hair, mud streaking across his jaw. A lantern, miraculously still intact, cast a dim glow across his face. He was no ordinary wanderer. The cut on his forehead was deep, but his hands, strong and calloused, looked like those of a man born to work the land. Yet the craftsmanship of his boots, the fine stitching on his coat, spoke of wealth, real wealth. Sarah knelt beside him. "Sir, can you hear me? Are you injured anywhere else?" His eyes opened slowly, gray, piercing, but weary. "My horse, where is he?" "He's sheltered under the eaves. I'll tend to him when the storm passes." For a long moment, he simply stared at her. Not with pity, not with judgment, but with surprise, as if he had never seen a woman so calm in the face of destruction. "You risked your life for a stranger," he murmured. Sarah swallowed, brushing a strand of hair from her damp cheek. "Out here, if we don't help each other, we don't survive." The tornado's roar began to fade. The silence that followed was deafening. Up above, the world had changed. Down here, Sarah's life was about to. The first light of dawn crept through the cracks in the cellar door. Sarah gently lifted it open, her breath catching in her throat. Where her barn once stood lay only splintered wood. Her chicken coop was gone, the fences shattered like matchsticks. But the house, miraculously, still stood, battered but whole. She turned to help the stranger climb out. He winced as he stepped into the light, his coat torn, his eyes scanning the devastation with a cold, steady gaze, not of panic, but of assessment. "You'll need lumber. And hands to rebuild," he said quietly. Sarah gave a soft, humorless laugh. "I have neither." The stranger turned to her, studying her with an intensity that made her heart pound. "And yet you opened your door to me without asking for anything in return." "Why?" Sarah hesitated. The baby began to fuss, and she gently rocked her. "Because kindness shouldn't require payment." A strange look flickered in his eyes, pain, regret, and something like admiration. He stepped forward. "My name is Colton Hayes." The name hit her like a jolt. Everyone in the county knew that name. The man standing before her wasn't just any rancher. He owned half the cattle between Iron Ridge and the Mexican border. A man so wealthy and powerful, even judges rode out to meet him instead of summoning him to court. And he had spent the night on her cellar floor. Before she could speak, riders appeared on the horizon, dozens of them, galloping fast. Colton's expression hardened. "They're looking for me," he said. Sarah's breath froze. Everything had just changed, again. Within minutes, the riders surrounded the property, hard-faced men armed with rifles, their hats pulled low. Sarah instinctively clutched her baby, stepping back. But Colton stood calm, unflinching, his presence commanding even without a badge or title. A man dismounted, older, with a scar over his brow. "Boss," he said, tipping his hat. "We found your trail near the river. When you didn't show at the ranch. Colton raised a hand, silencing him. Sarah blinked. Boss. The man turned to her and removed his hat respectfully. Ma'am, apologies for the intrusion. Tornado hit our ranch hard too. We've been searching for Mr. Hayes all night. Mr. Hayes. Not runaway, not outlaw. Owner. Leader. The realization sank into her bones. Colton turned to Sarah, his voice low. You saved my life last night. And now I intend to return the favor. Before she could respond, a thunderous crack echoed across the valley, another storm. No. Hooves. A different group of men, 6 riders, emerged from the South Ridge wearing dark dusters and red bandanas. The scarred man muttered, McGraw Gang. Sarah recognized the name instantly. Rustlers. Killers. Men who had been stealing cattle and land, leaving bodies behind as warnings. Rumors said they were trying to force ranchers to sell or flee. Colton stepped forward, his jaw set like iron. They took advantage of the storm. They're coming to finish what it started. He turned to Sarah. Get inside. Do not open the door. No matter what you hear. Sarah's heart hammered in her chest as she ran for the house. For years she had fought her battles alone. But today, the storm had brought something else to her door. A war. The wind howled as the McGraw Gang rode forward, thunder rolling across the valley like the drums of an ancient war. From the upstairs window, Sarah held her breath as Colton stood before them, alone, unarmed in appearance, yet radiating a power that made even the wild horses hesitate. The leader of the gang sneered. Hayes. Thought you'd be buried under that tornado by now. Sarah gasped. Hayes, as in Hayes Ranch. Hayes Bank. Hayes Rail Line. She remembered now, an empire spread across 3 counties. And the quiet stranger she sheltered, owned it. Colton's voice cut through the storm. Ride out now, and you'll see another sunrise. Stay. His eyes turned deadly. And you won't. A tense silence cracked like lightning. The first shot rang out. Colton's men responded with precision. It wasn't a battle, it was a message. Within minutes, the McGraw Gang scattered like smoke in the wind, their rein broken. When it was over, Colton turned, searching for Sarah. She stepped out onto the porch, her baby in her arms, her eyes filled with disbelief, and something new. Hope. Colton removed his hat, his voice soft, vulnerable in a way she had never heard. You opened your door when everyone else would have closed theirs. You didn't know my name. Didn't ask what I owned. You just helped. Sarah stepped closer. Storms don't bring destruction, Mr. Hayes. They revealed truth. His gaze deepened. Then let this be mine. I don't want to go back to a life of empty land and silent halls. Not without you. The sun finally broke through the clouds, bathing them in gold. And for the first time since the storm, and long before it, Sarah believed in miracles again.